Hello viewers, you're welcome to the Babsjay Global Show, where we share powerful stories, real-life journeys, and conversations that inspire global minds. Today's episode is the maiden edition, and of course a very special one. Our guest is a respected medical doctor, a forensic expert, and a prominent voice in the Nigerian diaspora community here in Tasmania. Beyond his professional achievements, he is a leader, a mentor, and a bridge builder among Africans in Australia. We'll be having discussion about his career path. We'll be having discussion about his political view. He launched a book recently, and the title of the book is The Career Reinvention Blueprint. We're going to be checking his vision and what he has in mind before putting the content of the book together. Welcome with me, Dr. David Ono, to the maiden edition of the Babsjay Global Show. You are welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, and I must commend you for starting this global YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
And it's not easy to really listen to your dream and move along. There's always room for people to give excuses, so I really appreciate you for considering me for this maiden edition, and I'm really glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. So my first question, I'm meeting Dr. David Ono for the first time. Who is Dr. David Ono?
Look, I am many things to many people. Importantly, I'm a child of God, being a Christian, but I'm also, like you may have alluded, I'm a father of 4 wonderful children. I'm also a husband to my lovely wife. I'm a mentor to so many Nigerians and so many young people. I'm a community leader and one of the people that really help to shape the Nigerian community in Tasmania. I'm also a very curious student of life.
Yeah. So thank you. As a community leader, as someone who, as a Nigerian who has led Nigerian community here in Tasmania. So what does leadership mean to you?
Leadership for me means trying to impact the life of others so that their journey is easier for them than it was for you. Let me backtrack a bit.
Yes.
When I arrived this country a long time ago, I was very lonely because I only knew one Nigerian before I arrived Tasmania, and it happened that he was not in a position to help me. So on arriving at the airport on a Sunday, just like today, I took the airport taxi to the hotel and spent a lonely 10 days there, going to work the next day. And it took me about 3 months before I could see a Nigerian when I arrived at Tasmania. So that was why I have made it a point of duty, as long as I am able, to really help shape the life. You see what's happening now?
Yeah.
When you're coming in now, you can either go to our website, send an email, do the WhatsApp and all that, Facebook and all that. None of this was in existence when I came in here.
So you pioneered the Nigerian community in Tasmania?
Yes, I did.
So why Tasmania? Since you came you have been in Australia for how many years?
I have been here for 15 years. Let me tell you the truth. When I decided I was coming to Australia, I did analysis of the geography of Australia. Australia is one of the few countries that has got temperate climate in the south and tropical climate in the north. Because I hate the heat, I said I drew a line, so I'm not going to live in Northern Territory, which is very hot, or Queensland or Western Australia. So I was looking at the temperate part of Australia. And then the first job I saw was at the Royal Harbour Hospital. I applied for the job. Within 2 weeks, I was called for a telephone interview. So that's why Tasmania.
What was the position, sir?
It was a registrar in neurosurgery, yeah.
Okay. So, as a pioneer member, or as a pioneer leader in the Nigerian community in Tasmania, how would you say the community is doing? Do you think the community is doing?
I would say the community is doing very well.
What are the statistics?
Oh, yeah, we can look at statistics. I think the community is more cohesive. The community is quite vibrant. Like we've just attended the Ramadan, event, closing the Ramadan, season for our Muslim Ummahs. And we will soon be celebrating our Easter for most of us that are Christians, and hosting our first meeting for the year, and of course the musical showcase. So I would say that the pulse of the Nigerian community here is very good because even though Tasmania is transitory, so that's why you see a lot of people coming for their permanent residency for job and later they leave. So it can be heartbreaking, but that's the aspect of life that people have got to move on. So I would say the community has grown. The last time we looked at it, we would say that the community has even up to tripled in number from the time we started the journey, and we have a lot of cohesive relationship where people come together. So I think we're in a better shape.
Okay. So have you lived in any other country aside from Nigeria and Australia?
Yes, I have. I lived for 3 years in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, from where I came to Australia. And I must tell you that, when I was in Trinidad and Tobago, I just knew I'm not going to stay there because of, the way it's structured and gun violence and so, yes, I've lived in other places.
Okay, so when you moved to Australia, especially Tasmania, do you have any cultural shock or something that you felt? Oh,
yeah, certainly there was cultural shock for me because one of the problems is that people will say you have got accent. We all have accent. People will say you look different, and the population of Africans or black African community in Tasmania is quite small as well.
So you've been a victim of racism?
Yes, certainly I have.
So can you share your experience about
yes,
that?
I can. I think it was in my earlier years. Of course, I'm blessed, or let me not say I'm blessed. I'm privileged that I don't have a lot of interaction in community, outside of work and community earlier on. So I think if you were to use the bus route, then people may target you or face that. So when I had racism was when I was at the Royal Harbour Hospital, and it turned out that a doctor called me. I was on call and was just insulting in his approach, saying he wasn't hearing me. Meanwhile, there's what we call isobar, which means the way you communicate with a doctor when you are seeking their expertise, all right?
Yeah.
He didn't do that because it means he should introduce himself, say what he wants from me, tell me the situation of the patient. Instead, he was rambling about not hearing me and trying to somehow intimidate me. Of course, it wasn't correct. So I have really faced that. But again, we have to make sure that doesn't happen. I reported that case as well.
So, can you tell us some of those things that nobody told you about abroad? You just came abroad, probably in Australia or the other place that you've lived, and you found out so is this all abroad is all about?
I think one of the most significant things is that you will have this rosy view of abroad in terms of it's almost like some people think it's heaven, or all their problems are solved, and a lot of money and all that. But the truth is that living abroad has got its own challenges in terms of our culture. For love of family, I've just looked at your beautiful wedding photos with family, with friends and colleagues. You couldn't get that here in terms of family support. That was one of the challenges I had earlier on, and that's one of the things that made me have my career shift in terms of you wouldn't have how you have a driver in Nigeria, or have a butler or a cook and all that. If you were to try it here, apart from it being very expensive, it's logistically even challenging. So the fact that you have to do your own laundry, you have got to drive yourself, and if you have children as well, you have to look after them. That is pretty challenging. Yes. Okay. And combine all of that with work. Yeah. So that's why life abroad can be challenging or very busy.
But a lot of people still believe that moving abroad solves all problems.
I don't think moving abroad solves all problems. I think it's an option. I look at life as options. Looking at the options and how you manage your risks. Abroad is only an option. Of course, if Nigeria were well led and we had a lot of leverage, we wouldn't be. Not everyone would be abroad. It's just the fact that there's a lot of tribalism. There's a lot of poor leadership in our country, Nigeria. That's why most of us are abroad.
All right.
and insecurity, of course, and all those.
So that will take me to the political questions.
Yeah.
But before I leave this abroad matter, if someone is coming to abroad now and contact you, Dr. Onu, I'll be in Australia, I'll be going to Canada in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time. What's your advice for them?
People contact me all the time. Like you said, I have a global brand, and I'm active on LinkedIn and all that. People contact me. I will either just tell you most people that contact me are doctors that are IMG International Medical graduates who want to talk about how they can pursue their training, or pharmacists who want to do internship. The thing is that I will tell you the pathways, the exams you've got to pass. But if it is someone just coming in and telling me, look, I will tell you the truth. It's not easy abroad, but that doesn't mean I dissuade you from coming. Just that you need to do your research. You need to be sure of what you come in to face. Because some people believe you can come break the law, and it's a very lawful society where if you break the law, you may find yourself in jail and all that. So, absolutely. So yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me your background in politics? Because I know Dr. David Onu to have a political background.
Okay. Yeah. So we can talk about
probably you are an APC member.
Look, I think I'll just give you a little overview. So I come from a very political family in Nigeria, which dates beyond even like my grandfather. So my maternal grandfather was the first leader of my community. In fact, he was the leader of Uburu community in then Imo State, then Abia State, Ebonyi State currently, when the colonialist UK people invaded Nigeria and burnt all the shrines. So he was a very passionate leader. And then my dad was also the first educated and first leader of my community, who was like the traditional ruler, who was given the title of Eze Adu of Uburu. And then my other brother was, may his soul rest in peace, all these folks are all gone, was also very powerful and was first governor of then Abia State, and then minister for science and technology. He's died and was buried 2 years ago. The truth is, I do not like the type of politics they play in Nigeria. So I wouldn't say I'm an APC member, because if Nigeria is politically led well, we would develop more and give more back to Nigeria. So I wouldn't be proud to tell you I'm an APC member. I will tell you that I am cosmopolitical. Yeah, the way politics is played, I don't like it. So
if you were to vote in Nigeria now, who would you vote for?
Look, to tell you the truth, if I were to vote and there's P2B, I would vote for P2B.
Why?
Irrespective of... Now, look, it is not because he's an Igbo man, I'm Igbo, and it's not because he's young. It is because he is a well-educated economist who has delivered well as one of the governors of Anambra State. All right? And he is young and he's quite vocal and has got a plan for Nigeria. So if I were to vote in Nigeria, or if they enabled us to vote in diaspora, I'll vote for P2B. Not because he's an Igbo man, but because he's younger, he's energetic, and he has got some plan to rescue Nigeria. Nigeria is in an abysmal situation, yes.
What is the most challenging part of your profession as a medical doctor?
I think the most challenging part of my profession as a medical doctor is the fact that it is well regulated and restricted. So you couldn't advertise yourself otherwise as a medical doctor, and you have to also train for so many years. So the average medical school is 6 years, even though I trained for 7 years because of problem in Nigeria. And you have, even when you finish training, you have to do the internship. In Nigeria, we do 1 year extra of youth service, and then you start life as a medical doctor, but you still have to train in postgraduate studies. So it's a long-term adventure. So
has your profession ever changed your perspective about life?
Yes. The thing is, there's no way you will be seeing patients who are human beings as we are, discussing private suffering, private things with you that wouldn't change you if you are a human being. There's no way. So my work as a doctor has changed me in terms of empathy, in terms of knowing that we are all on this job, this track together, track of life. So, yes.
Yeah. Is there any synergy between Tasmania or Nigerian communities in Australia? Do they have a common ground where it means take a decision, have a meeting, or do something together?
Yeah. So around the time of COVID, I helped to co-found CONAPA, which is the Council of Nigerian Association Presidents in Australia. It's a mouthful, but what it means is you only become a member of CONAPA if you were a serving president of a registered Nigerian community in any jurisdiction in Australia. So what that helped to do was, when there was a leadership challenge in New South Wales and then Victoria, CONAPA stepped up to offer leadership. So there's synergy there. Our current president is a sitting member of CONAPA. So what it helps us to do is make sure that we are all sharing our leadership experience, make sure that we can form a formidable group. Like, recently there was an effort to increase the visa payment. CONAPA stood solidly, and so it was increased from 50 to 150. Of 50 to 150. It was then dropped to 100 and dropped back to 50. So that's the sort of representation. So yes.
But I think in my own view, I think the association is not as strong.
Yep.
Because as the association or the CONAPA, has there been any time where the association were able to channel the cause to Australian federal government and they got something out of it?
Look, the thing is that,
for instance, a lot of Nigerians coming from Nigeria, a lot of our parents coming from home, packed foodstuff and all that, getting to the airport, they trash it away. Oh, you can't bring this to Australia, you can't this, because some immigration officers even tell people that your food are poisonous. So what is the association's strength? What are they doing to challenge that?
Look, I think you hit a very, you just stressing a very good point, and it's personal for me. So when I went home November and came back December 2024, I had seizure of my foodstuff, despite that they've been labeled with the botanical name, the English name, the traditional name. The packing was done well and with the name and phone number of the company that packed it. It was very terrible. So look, and that's part of the fact that we have poor governance in terms of leadership of the Nigerian in Nigeria, okay? So that the Australian government is not taking us very seriously. Despite what we are trying to do, we've had people from immigration and even, I think it's custom or agriculture, one of the departments that deals with this sort of thing about food, come to present to us in CONAPA. We've had that present in Victoria, in Melbourne, and the CONAPA leader then, who is Dr. What's her name now? The former president of Nigerian Society of Victoria, represented us there. And, despite that, it keeps happening. And another thing is also the visa restriction, all right? Because Nigerians are prolific as a country. So, some of their laws we talk about, you just have 50% of the children staying in Australia. And if it is less than that, then you cannot have them visited permanently. So that's a problem, because if you have 5 children or 8 children and only one of them is in Australia, then that almost disqualifies you. So there are really areas for improvement. Nigerians in Australia are a young population. We haven't had people come in and establish for a very long time. So we are doing our best. So there's a lot of progress we have to make. I agree with you in terms of the seizure of food, our immigration, having people come in with visa, and even in education. So it is not a mark, if you ask me, of poor leadership of CONAPA. It is actually a mark of how Nigeria is regarded by Australia.
So that brings me to the question of unity.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that it is hard for Nigerians to be united, even Nigerians in diaspora, that there's no unity among Nigerians living in diaspora. As a community leader, what's your take on that?
Look, I wouldn't agree or disagree with that. In fact, if you ask me in Tasmania, I would disagree, because look, you can see that when we have call for meetings, people are there. When we are planning our events, people are there. Some people will definitely not be there because they don't want to be participating. And it's a choice. You can't force anyone. And so I wouldn't say there's not unity. I would say that it's a result of the stress and running around of people, because you have to look after. Some people are working as we are speaking now because they want to make ends meet, or they want more money, you know. So I don't think it's a sign of disunity. I would think that Nigerians in Tasmania are unified, as you can see even today's event. So I will not say that's the case. But again, some people don't want to participate and you can't force them.
So do you think Nigerians living in diaspora, do you think they are doing enough back home? Do you think they are giving enough back to Nigerians living back home? If
you look at the statistics, you will be shocked. People here are doing a lot, and in fact represents a very big contributor to the GDP of Nigeria, or even any other African countries, because of course people are sending money to develop properties, to fund education for their SIBs, to help feed their parents. Without that, people will actually struggle. So I think people are doing well. There is still room for improvement. Like if there were security back home and collateral agreement, then people can work a bit here, go back to work, or do teleconsultation and all those sort of cultural and a better collaboration. But I think financially people are doing well, sending back money.
So before we go into your book, the Career Reinvention Blueprint, if you become Nigerian president today, what would you change, especially in terms of infrastructure and security? What would be your strategy?
Look, if there's a magic wand and I become the president of Nigeria, I think...
Or do you have such ambition?
No, I don't actually. I believe that there are so many other ways you can impact people.
Like what ways?
Like just being a good human being, like being a leader, without necessarily a political, that sort of thing. And you need to understand that because of the tribe I come from, as an Igbo man, there has never been an Igbo president since the second dispensation, from 1999 to today. That's how many years? 27 years. In the first dispensation, apart from Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was a ceremonial president, there has never been an Igbo president. So I believe
Jonathan was categorized as Igbo man.
Jonathan was the South. He's not an Igbo man. So the truth is that my chances of being a president of Nigeria, what I'm just trying to tell you is that the chances of me, David Ono, being a president of Nigeria, even if I wanted to, is very, very low. That's number one. But if there's a magic one and I become the president, what I will try to change is trying to inject. What we have to change is the fact that we are exporting crude oil overseas, then refining it and then bringing it back. That is not okay. So
they are not bringing it; we are buying it back.
That is correct. So we will try to stop that. We'll either utilize the local refinery to do that. All the money that is given in blocks to politicians, people, because they has to stop, so that the money that Nigerians are getting from will be spent in Nigeria, not squandered overseas, So that's what I'm going to do. Then we have to develop the infrastructure, like you said, the roads, and then introduce ambulance services, emergency services. If any of us is sick here, you call the emergency service, they will take you. It doesn't happen in Nigeria. And when you go, they treat you, and then later they charge you. But there they will treat you only when you have been able to deposit money. And if they treat you and you cannot deposit money, I heard about people being detained in the hospital, almost like a prison. So that's the thing. So these are things we have to change, all right? So the thing is, there are so many areas, even building roads, and reduce this over-dependence on oil and over-dependence on foreign aids, foreign grants, big loans that you continue to pay and pay. So that's what we may have to do.
A lot of people actually thought agriculture will be the savior of the future.
Yes.
But people are not farming again. All the farmland now, they have turned to real estate, investment and all that. So what do you have for them?
So there are two ways we can answer this question. So when there was agricultural revolution, okay, in America and all over the world, okay, many people, the majority of people were employed in agriculture. It may surprise you to know that currently, as we speak, it's only 3% of Americans that are actually employed in agriculture. The reason is that they have mechanized their agriculture. So that's the one thing. What we need to do in Nigeria is not necessarily how many persons working in the agricultural sector. What we do in Nigeria is peasant farming. My mom had so many farms, okay? And we all continue to work, till the ground, we harvest the rice, till it, willow it, and all those sort of things. No, they have to mechanize farming. Some of those lands should be reclaimed so that, like in Australia, governments own all the land and can apportion it. This is for cattle rearing, this is for agriculture, right? You mechanize it and still employ people to work in those farms, and you can produce a lot of produce from there. Second point is the problem of the Fulani herders who are moving around, allowing their cattle to attack and destroy farms of people, especially southeast and south, maybe even middle belt. That is not okay. They should either allow them to raise them in ranches, okay, which is still mechanized, and then allow these landowners to produce their crops. So part of the reason people may not be interested in agriculture is that you allow these marauders to come and destroy. And if you talk, they kill you. So that is not okay. So that's the problem. So
yeah. All right. It's been an interesting time having this chat with Dr. David Onu. Thank you very much for being on this show. Now I want to go to your book, and then I've got a copy here.
Okay.
The Career Reinvention Blueprint. What is your intention for writing this book?
Oh, look, I think this book came from me sitting with this idea of my lived experience for a few months, and I was asking myself, what do I do with this? And then I had a very interesting experience on the 31st of July last year. So my colleague called it a teachable moment. I may say it is a serendipitous moment. So I went to bed that day and couldn't sleep at night. So I went to bed normally with my wife by my side, and I couldn't sleep. I had to keep coming out because ideas were flooding in my brain. I just kept coming out of the bed, sneaking, because it's dark. Usually our bedroom is dark at night. And then luckily for me, I had a whiteboard in my room. So I just kept, I scribble, come back to bed, sleep. Then it floods me again. I continue. So by the time I finished doing that, I can show you a copy of that scribble. Yeah. In the morning, it turns out that it was not chaos. It was really the outline of this book. So the thing is, the question you asked me is, what do I have in mind?
Yes. What do you want the reader to see in the book?
What I want the reader to see is that career reinvention does not mean you have to resign from your work. It does not start by you cleaning up your resume or your CV. What it means is that you have got to listen to the inner voice or the inner nudge of restlessness which you may have, despite that you have achieved success and you may not have fulfillment. You have to listen to that and then diagnose it more like with the framework I have in the book, so that you now understand whether what you're dealing with is what we call situational discomfort, which means your work is not fulfilling because you are working under a micromanager, for instance, or you are overworked, or you are working in a highly regulated sector where if you were to restructure your work or work from home or go on leave, that would just take the edge off you. Or whether the restlessness is what we call growth restlessness or growth discomfort, which means that you are not working under a bad boss, you are not overworked, but yet your work does not feel fulfilling. What I'm urging readers to do is to listen to that voice and then know whether they have outgrown that job and may do better elsewhere, which means they may resign or start integrating other aspects of work to fulfill that urge. So that is what I want to pass across to the readers. This book has no demographic, restriction. So it is for anyone who may be in early career, mid-career, or even about retiring. Because what it is trying to impact is trying to urge you to have fulfillment, whether you've achieved success or not. So it's not for Nigerians alone. We have contributors here from someone that lives in the Netherlands and UK, who is, he's an Iranian. No, sorry, from Iraq.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary for Nigerians, and it's not necessary for people in diaspora. People are buying it in Nigeria, it's available in Nigeria. The thing is that anyone who is in a career that's seeking more fulfillment will find some value in the book.
Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
Before we go, still on the book, if I want to place order for the book, where can we find it?
All right. So the way we've done there's a website for the book which is just the same title. So it's careerreinventionblueprint.com, and on that website it tells you you can order from the website directly, and you can choose to also order on Amazon. But if you order from the website, or maybe we can give discounts for people who buy bulk orders, and you can choose to order an autographed copy from me, in which case we will mail it from Tasmania to any part of the world to the person with a message from me and my signature. So that's an option. So just going to the careerreinventionblueprint.com.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Is Dr. Onu a risk taker?
I would say yes, I'm a risk taker, but it has to be sort of, you have to sit on that risk.
So have you taken a risk that made a significant impact in your life before?
Yes, I have taken risks, even leaving my job from neurosurgery to work in the community, and was a big risk. But again, I was sure I'm not going to regret it because I was doing it for my family. I've also taken risk in my investments, which didn't work out. So,
like what?
Like I bought land. Like in Nigeria, I bought shares of All States Bank. Do you know about All States Bank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much?
It was like 250,000 then. That was some big money, and then I lost it, or 25,000 or
dollars, or
no, in naira. 215,000 naira, and then I lost it because the bank went under.
Yeah.
It was a risk because I thought it was a good investment. I bought lands that the people came back to try to harass, and we go to court or landlocked. I've really taken, but it's not intention. Those risks are not intentional. So I wouldn't intentionally take big risks that will cause me trouble. However, that is how life is. Yeah.
What do you tell someone who does not believe in taking risk?
Look, risk, you need to define what you call risk. If the person can just go to bed and sleep peacefully at night, that means it's okay. Or if you are going to regret not taking that risk later on, then it's okay to take the risk. Because the worst is that it now becomes not failure, but an experience. Almost like you're experimenting, right? Yeah, it hasn't worked out, so this hasn't worked out. But I wouldn't advise people to just take risk for risk-taking sake, okay? Because it may lead to a lot of problems. Either lose a lot of money or even lose their life. So yeah, risk-taking is good, but it depends on your risk profile. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. So last question before we go, and that's where we are signing out. Before I go into the last question, sorry, a lot of people believe, oh, I'm outside Nigeria, I'm not going back. This is home. Nigeria is no longer home for me. I'm here to stay. What do you have to tell them? Do you have plan of retiring back home or retiring abroad?
Personally, that's one of the hardest questions you've asked me, because before someone decides whether they retire back home or stay in the diaspora, it's a very big decision. So it's not one to be taken lightly, especially if you have got a family, especially if you've got a wife. So I think what I would advise the person is to really sit with that for a while and discuss with your wife. For me, it's an option. I may retire back home or I may remain here. It doesn't matter. What is important is you continue to give value, continue to relate well with people back home, you continue to pursue your dream. I don't think it matters whether you retire home. The way the Nigerian atmosphere or the Nigerian system is now is not appetizing. So don't blame anyone who doesn't want to go back, because there's a lot of insecurity. But if things improve, like a bit security-wise, then it might be more appealing. Yeah, many people go back home only to be kidnapped and killed, or ransomed and so on. So it's not. I will not despise anyone who doesn't want to do so. For me, it's still a journey. I'm not retiring soon, so it might be that by the time we are retiring, maybe things has changed, in which case we'll be more open to going home. But if things stay the way they are, it's not really appetizing for me.
So if there is improvement in Nigerian system, should we be expecting Dr. David Onu on the ballot boxes?
Yes, I will. Oh, not necessarily at the ballot boxes. Like I said before, there are other ways you can still impact and give value without necessarily being in an elected position. It might be an appointed position. Otherwise, there are other things one can do.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So lastly, we are going, if Nigerians in the diaspora are hearing you now and those in Nigeria, so the last word, what do you have to tell them?
Look, I think the last word for me to tell anyone who is listening to this is that you have just set an example, right? You're listening to the nudge, the inner voice telling you to start this project. And I know we had this discussion with your lovely wife and analyzed a few things. So even just listening to that inner voice of what you are wanting to do, I've been wanting to do that for a long time, is a risk. You don't know where the journey is going to take you. Even just doing that, I think that's an object lesson. So that's one aspect. So I would tell people, what is in your heart, go and get it done. All right, that's number one. Number two is that living abroad is not the panacea to all problems, right? It has got benefits, it has got risk, it has got advantages and disadvantages. So if you want to come abroad, then that's fine. It is humbling that people are looking up to me. I also have people I'm looking up to, so I will say it's a privilege to be able to inspire people and continue to give value. I'm only a human being. I have got my flaws and I'm not perfect. So even to consider that people are looking up to me is quite humbling for me. So I would just say that people should be good citizens of Nigeria or of any country where they are, and just stay away from the rich schemes, and just look after their families, look after themselves, and just continue to give value wherever they are, whether they are in Nigeria and whether they are in the diaspora. That's all I would say.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. People might want to contact you, follow you on social media. What's the social media handle?
Yes, I am quite active on social media. I think LinkedIn or any other media is just Dr. David Onu. Yeah, that's my handle, and I'll be happy to interact with people.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate your time and appreciate your presence. If you are not contesting in Nigeria, probably you'll be contesting in Australia.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Let's watch this space.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. David Onu. It's been a great time. It's been a very beautiful moment with you. So this has been an incredible and insightful conversation with Dr. David Onu. Thank you very much for sharing your journey, for sharing your truths, for sharing your wisdom with us today. And you, our viewers, you've learned something from this conversation today. Definitely. Don't keep it to yourself. Please do well to subscribe to this channel, the Babsjay Global Show, like, share, and make sure you turn on the notification button so that when we upload new videos, you'll be notified. Until next time I come your way, keep striving, keep growing, and keep believing in your journey, because one day you will sit here like Dr. David Ono, sharing your story to inspire someone. Thank you. I remain your humble host, Babsjay Global. See you in the next episode. Thank you. God bless you. Bye for now.